Welcome back to Trinity Ironworks. I've got a shop tip of the day for you guys, and so let's get into it. So it's the end of July now, and it is very, very hot for a blacksmith shop that does not have air conditioning, a shop in general that does not have air conditioning. It gets very, very hot, and so you sweat insane amounts. I mean, I'm covered right now. You just pour sweat. And so a problem with that in the blacksmith shop is you get a lot of sweat going down your arm, you get a lot of sweat in your hands start to sweat a lot. And so there's two things that can happen there. The sweat will produce moisture, obviously, and it will produce moisture on your hammer handle and it will produce moisture on your hand. And that sweat will make you grip your hammer very hard, which isn't a bad thing. It's very nice to have, to not have super dry hands, but it gets to a point where it just starts to grip so much when you do so much hammering that either you are going to start blistering a lot, you're going to have a lot of blisters, or if you're to the point where I am, where your hands are just so calloused that when you're hammering you don't get any blisters, you just have very thick calluses. Those calluses will grip in one spot almost. They'll move a little bit, but they'll grip almost in just one spot, and they'll rub back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And that doesn't create a blister, but it really, really starts to hurt. After a couple hours of hammering solid, after a couple hours of that and that rubbing motion and just that straight moisture and that grip, it really, really starts to hurt. It becomes very, very painful to the point where I almost want to stop forging. And so there's one thing that you can do, two things that you can do actually, that will help that. So that crazy amount of moisture, you want to bring that down a little bit. And so one of the things I believe probably the old timers did in the blacksmith shop is the use of fly ash, the stuff down under your forge. You take a nice handful of this real fine ash. There's a little bit of clinker in there, but you take some of that real fine ash, that fly ash, you take that and just kind of get a big handful of it and crush it up in your hand and roll it around in there. All that fine ash will dry up a lot of that moisture. Rub it down with your hammer handle. That'll dry up a lot of that moisture, but you'll still have enough moisture to where you're able to grip. Not to where your hands are completely dry, but it brings down a lot of that moisture, and it helps to not have such a hard grip with your skin stuck in one spot on the hammer handle because of that sweat. So that'll dry up a lot of that. That'll help a lot of that rubbing, a lot of that stuck in one spot and moving back and forth of the callus and the blistering. That's going to help a lot. Another one of the things that you can use is baby powder or just fine dirt, really fine dirt or baby powder. But in the blacksmith shop, a common use I like to use to mitigate that stuck in one spot rubbing is fly ash. It's very helpful. I hope it can help you in your blacksmith shop or in your shop in general if you're doing a lot of hammer swinging. Thank you guys. I appreciate the support on the channel. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I hope this helped. Forge on.